Time for another big box. We're opening and having a look at Heart of Ghur. So of course, I have my trusty X-Acto knife, and we're gonna crack this open. Now, I'm not gonna do any of that sexy unboxing music this time. I don't think you guys can handle it. So of course, it's another coffin box, huge, lots of terrain, and these sprues look amazing. So first we have the Rotmire Creed, and these are of course the swamp people, and we have the Horns of Shut, which are going to be the ones burning the swamp people. Of the two, I think I kind of like the Horns of Shut better, although they both look really cool. And included are of course terrain. Ooh, the terrain sprues. So each of these sprues contains one big terrain feature, and then there are two sprues that have the small terrain features. So each of these right here, the first two here, this one especially is one of the large terrain pieces. All of them have like the big terrain pieces have a platform, and on the platform you can use these little bridges to kind of connect everything together. And of course you want to keep the bridges separate and not glue them in, so you can reposition everything. So these two sprues with the bridges are the ones with the small terrain features. And then of course this guy is, these last two are the larger terrain features. And I love the bones. The bones with the wood and everything just makes the place look dangerous. It makes this particular terrain look super dangerous. And I love it. I can't wait to get some paint on it. I think it's going to look great in Warcry and D&D and even Age of Sigmar. Now, of course, included is your nice, print of the box art. I know they use that to protect everything below, but honestly, it looks really cool, and I really want to frame some of these. So you got your floppy ruler, you got your tokens, and you got your board. Then of course we have a pack of cards, and that contains all of the victory conditions, the twists, the gang cards, the battle plans, and the gang overview cards with the abilities. Then we have the book and the instructions as well. And I'll go through that just a little bit. I'm not going to go in as much detail as Ash from Gorilla Miniature Games does, but of course we have on top of that we have dice, and I really like the subtle brown colors in these, and of course the bases. Now the cards for the Horns of Shut, and as you can see from the new card style, it has a reaction specific to the faction, to this warband, which I think is really cool. And that's on top of the regular reactions that everybody can use. Now we got our abilities here, and like I said, I'm not going to go over these in crazy amounts of detail, because of course that would be I think that would be kind of a violation, but I will just kind of look at the cards. And honestly, as always, the cards are very high quality. These cards were very well packed, unlike my Neither Maze that I got. So you first have, of course, the battle plan cards that has all the the deployment lines and everything for the different war bands for each that you choose for the scenario. And you have the terrain layouts that sets up the battlefield itself. Really cool. Now there's no combined cards here, so you won't have any combinations with the new sets. So honestly, I'm fairly certain that they're going to come out with some new terrain sets to go along with this, not just the regular box sets, kind of like they did with the first edition. Then you have your, well, honestly, I don't remember what those cards are for. I've never actually played Warcry. I really want to play Warcry. I've painted and bought a bunch of the sets, but I've never had a chance to play. Alright, so we got the gang cards, right? We got the Rotmire Creed, all their stats and all that. And God, I really do like the look of these guys too. They have that, swamp ninja kind of look to them, I guess it would be. And the Horns of Shut even though those helms are huge and gaudy, I really think they look really cool. They look very chaos-esque, I suppose the term would be. And then, of course, the last two card sets that you have are the twists, which these you'll recognize that from the first Warcry box set, because where you had a similar type of deal, and the victory conditions. Now, the victory conditions, of course, tell you exactly what you need to do to win the scenario in question. So, that being said, the tokens are just like the previous tokens, double-sided, very well printed out, good quality tokens, and very thick card stock. Good stuff. You've got your floppy ruler with its forbidden dance, oosh, oosh. And then what I actually have been looking forward to having a closer look at is the board here. So it's two-sided. There's a swampy type of side, and there is a kind of a ruined side, which I'm honestly guessing one side would be like from the Horns of Ashut burning stuff, and the other one would be from the Rotmire Creed, like the actual forest before everything happened. Now, what we have here, of course, is the rule book for the terrain rules, and the terrain instructions, more to the point. The terrain instructions, they don't look very complicated, and I will go over each little piece that I have here as I put them together and do kind of like a little overview of how it was to kind of put everything together. But as you can see, each piece has a ton of individual little pieces, and the trees, just to give like in kind of a general overview, the trees are kind of fiddly and a little hard to put together. It's kind of a pain in the butt because all of the trees come in several different sections, and I understand that that is a way to make it easier to manufacture and all that, but man, putting the trees together was kind of a pain in the butt. And it does leave some gaps on some of them, but that's easily fillable with milliput or green stuff or even a little bit of sprue goo if you have like a really small gap. And then on the back there, it gives you kind of an overview of everything. Now, the next thing I'm going to go over is the book, and I'm just going to leave you with some with my usual working music track here as I kind of page through everything. But again, as always, the art direction is on point. All of the art in this book is amazing, and I like the new rules. I like the reactions, and there are quite a few quests. The only thing that I've seen so far that's kind of put me off a little bit is the campaign, so to speak, in this is kind of geared towards the two war bands that come in the box. So I'm guessing at some point we're going to receive probably an expansion book or a supplement of some sort that's going to have some more quest information and some more, maybe another campaign of some sort. Hopefully something a little more open and a little less geared towards the actual factions that came in the box. So far, that's really the only thing that has sort of disappointed me, is the fact that the quests themselves are kind of geared towards the factions that come in it, and I have factions that I would like to run through it more than the Rotmire Creed or the Horns of Ashut. And don't get me wrong, like I said, they're amazing, but I mean the unmade, for instance, are kind of my favorite models, with the the blissful one, the joyous one, and all that. They're, in my opinion, they're some of the strangest and some of the coolest miniatures that Games Workshop has produced. And as you can see here, it's got some examples from the old war bands, including a couple of my personal favorites. But yeah, I'm gonna leave you with a little bit of, you know, working music as I go through the book itself. And you know, I'm not gonna, as I said, I'm not gonna go over anything in too much detail, because I don't want to you know, put something in here that Games Workshop might not want published like that, or, you know, I don't want to spoil any details on any of the quests. So here we go. so here is a kind of a look at the way everything goes. Now, all of the stuff fits together fairly well. I did not have a problem with that. A lot of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory. And as you can see, this is kind of like a step-by-step of how things are progressing on this particular piece. What I'm going to do is give kind of an overview of each large piece and the smaller ones as I'm done. Now, this is the first one here. This is the giant spine there. And the trees are amazing. Those branches that look like fingers are very super creepy, and I love it. So the two little platforms there, of course, went together pretty well. Now this one, each of those little pieces there is like its own individual thing. All right, so this was kind of a pain in the ass to put together because you have to sort of balance everything out, and you have to make sure that it sits properly. As you can see, once I got all the rest of the pieces together, I had to put a rubber band on there to kind of keep everything tight and to put it together. And each of these little pieces there, I made sure to stick it in there and snap it in, and then kind of test it to make sure it was not loose. And that little corner piece that I just pointed to there was a little bit loose even after this fitting. Now, one thing I did is, unfortunately, I left the rubber band on there overnight. And as you can see, it kind of shifted the pieces just a little bit, and I probably should not have done that. And there's a little gap there in the tree, but that's all right. I'll fix that with some green stuff. And next time, the rubber band, I'm probably not going to leave that on overnight. Hopefully, I will not forget. But you can see even there in the mid part of the tree where there's like a little gap. Now, this one was a little easier to put together for the platform and the skull, but the tree was a little wonky. It's together pretty solid, and I made sure to kind of super glue those joints a little bit and make them a little easier to work with. This guy was quite a pain in the butt. You have to make sure, really make sure that you are putting everything together as per the instructions. Dry fit everything, because I almost messed this up. And as you can see, this piece is a little top heavy. I might try and put some counterweight in the bottom to try and kind of weigh it down towards the bottom and balance that out. It's not so bad, but you can see there where there are some gaps that I'm going to have to fill with green stuff. The gaps are a little bigger than I expected, but it's not, it's not a game changer. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, I am using my old clippers there, as you can see, instead of my new ones. For these thick pieces here, if you have an older set of clippers, it's usually better to use those for the thicker stuff, because I want to keep my nice new clippers as new as I can. But see, each of these little terrain pieces here, these side pieces are the smaller pieces are really nice. As you can see here, once I get the focus fixed, the only piece I had a problem with on that one was the skeleton. You have to put that on individually. The rest of these went together pretty well without any issues. Each of the pieces, there are two of the smaller ones, and they come in multiple parts, as always, as the rest of them do. This particular one, the bigger tree there did not want to stay in place. So I did have to hold that one for a few minutes, or maybe 30 seconds before it locked in place. That piece was the simplest to put together. It's literally just two pieces. It's the wall and the skull. This one was not so bad. There's two halves that go together. And honestly, I think when I paint all this stuff, probably the wall is probably a jade or a gold color. And I'm not sure what color I'm going to use for the trees. But this is kind of an overview of everything after it's done, including the bridges. And as you can see, the stuff looks amazing. As always, great terrain. So anyway, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the bell button if you want to see my videos when they come out. Thank you very much.